Hey, what is up guys, it's Modded Warfare here, welcome back to another PS5 tutorial. So one of the things I get asked about quite a bit is Remote Package Installer options for the PS5. So that's the ability to install your package files for your games, your apps, your updates, installing them over the network directly to the PS5 instead of having to copy them to a USB drive and then plugging that USB into the PS5 and installing it with the debug settings. So you can just do it directly over the network. And this, of course, is something we've had access to on the PS4 for a long time. There's lots of different options for remote package installing on the PS4, but on the PS5, there hasn't really been any options until now. However, the Homebrew Store actually has a second functionality that can allow you to use it as a remote package installer to serve your own package files from your computer over to the PS5 directly. And this is probably the best use of the Homebrew Store right now, since the normal Homebrew Store, the main functionality of it, doesn't really have any homebrew apps that are particularly useful right now. It's mostly just test apps and homebrew games, so it's probably a better use of the Homebrew Store to just serve your own package files from your computer. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to set that up. And we'll also go over how to fix a few issues that are kind of unique to the PS5 version. So we'll go ahead and get into all of that here in this video. But before we get into that, we have a sponsor for today's video, World of Warships Legends. World of Warships Legends is a free-to-play naval combat game where you get to command iconic warships from history and battle it out in epic 3v3v3v3 and 9v9 matches. Now, I've never been great at fast-paced FPS games, so World of Warships Legends is definitely more my style, where it focuses on tactics like calculating where your shots are going to land and picking the right ships, weapons and upgrades to suit your playstyle and strategy. It's pretty addicting once you get into it. There's loads of content with 11 different nations to command, and they keep things fresh by updating the game every 5 weeks with new ships, missions and upgrades. Unlike Lappy's River Raid, the game is available on the latest firmware for the PS4 and PS5, so there's no need for a jailbreak. And of course, you can also find it on Xbox One and Xbox Series platforms. There's also some exclusive Black Friday deals on offer, with more dropping on the 24th of November, where you can get your hands on some exclusive black ships like the Tier 5 Dunkirk, Tier 6 Asashio, Tier 7 Tirpitz, and the legendary Napoli. You can also find discounts on XP boosters, commander crates and more, with up to 80% off in some cases. So don't miss out on these deals, use my link in the description below and start sinking ships in World of Warships Legends today. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is head over to the internet browser, and we're going to run es7in1.site, head to that website, head over to PS5 section, and run one of the PS5 exploit hosts. So I'm going to use the idle sauce host here, and select the option to jailbreak the PS5. And of course, if you don't have the internet browser app on your PS5, check out my full PS5 setup guide, which shows you exactly how to get the PS5 jailbreak set up to this point. Definitely recommend checking that video out before moving on to any other tutorials. Okay, and once you get onto the payload selector, we want to run the ETA hen payload, but not the one with cheats. You want to run the one without cheats. So ETA hen without cheats by Lightning Mods. We're going to select that option, load the payload, and there we go. You can see it shows IP address, port number, all of that stuff is showing up. PS5 case stuff successfully loaded. So we are all good to go. So we'll press the PS button to head back here, and we are now all set. So the next thing we need to do is install the Homebrew Store if you don't already have it installed. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. If we switch over to our computer, we need to download the Homebrew Store. So you can get the Homebrew Store from pkg-zone.com. Link will be in the description. Just click download Homebrew Store and select the PS5 version. Get that downloaded. Once it's downloaded, you are going to have to copy that over to a USB drive. I know it's kind of ironic that we're focusing on remote package installing, so we don't have to use a USB drive, but in order to get this application on initially, you'll need to use a USB. So we'll copy this over to the root of a USB drive that's formatted in exFAT or FAT32 format, and then we can eject that drive and plug it back into the PS5. Okay, I'm back on the PS5. We're going to head to settings. We're going to scroll down to our debug settings. We're going to go to Game Package Installer and install the Homebrew Store. Okay, there we go. Homebrew Store is now installed. We can run it, make sure it's all up and running and working. I'll just tell it to update later. We'll get our ETA hen. App has been granted a jailbreak. So ETA hen's running successfully, which will allow us to use the Homebrew Store. And we'll just let it go through its normal updates. get things all set up. And here we go. So we're into the Homebrew Store. So right now, by default, it's serving us all of the package files from its own content delivery network, which is, you know, the Homebrew Store servers. These are all of the package files that are on there. And again, it's mostly just test apps and homebrew games right now. So what we're going to do is switch on over to the computer and create our own content delivery network to provide our own package files to the Homebrew Store from our computer. And of course, you could also do this from a server or some other device on your local network. But we're going to go ahead and serve them from the computer. So I'm going to switch on back over to the computer again. And from here, we want to download the Store CDN tool. Now, this is a tool I worked on with Lightning Mods quite a while ago, and it will work here for the PS5. So all you need to do is download this tool. So if you head over to the releases section here, click this link to get to the latest release, and then download the release.zip file. And then if you head back to the source, we also need to download the update file for the PS5. Now you can do this by heading down to this important section down here and clicking this option to download the latest store update here. If you click that link, it will take you over to another GitHub repo, and in here you will find the PS5 update files. You can see this was just updated 2 days ago, so we can go ahead and download this right here, PS5 update files, download that link, and you should be good. So from here, what we're going to do is extract the release for the Store CDN tool. We'll extract that over to our desktop, and then we can kind of get rid of this. And then what we want to do is open up the release folder, create a new folder in here called update. And this is going to contain the store update from our PS5 update.zip. So we'll open up that zip file, extract the 3 files inside here, remote.md5, store.prx, and store.prx.sig. We'll extract that into the update folder that we created. So you now have the Store CDN tool set up now in order to work with the PS5 version of the Homebrew Store. So now we're just going to run store cdn tool.exe. We'll open this up, go away Windows, run anyway. There we go. Okay, so now we're up and running. So the next thing we need to do is select our IP address. If you click this, it will give you a drop-down list that will give you all of the IP addresses of all the different network adapters on your computer. You just need to select the one that's actually providing your computer with the internet connection. So your local IP address of your computer. In my case, that's actually going to be this 192.168.137.1 address. Again, you can of course find this just by typing in cmd and typing in ipconfig into the command prompt, and that will give you a list of all the network adapters and their IP addresses. And you just want to find the one that's providing your computer with the internet connection, which for me would be like the Ethernet adapter here, and you'll grab the IP address there. For you, it might be a wireless adapter, so something like wireless LAN adapter, and you'll find the IP address right there. Okay, so once you've selected the correct IP address of your computer, we also need to select a package directory. Now you can just paste in a package directory in here. You can click the 3 dots to browse for one, or you can just actually drag and drop a folder in here to get the file path. So I'm just going to use my JDownloader folder here because that's where I download all of my package files to. It all gets downloaded through my JDownloader download manager, and it all gets put to this folder here. So I'm just going to copy the file path right here because this is where most of the package files are. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that directory in here. This is also on a network drive as well. So you can also serve package files from a network drive if it's hosted on a server. That's another option. But once you've selected the directory that contains most of your package files, you can just click the button here to add packages. Okay, so you can see here it found 44 valid package files of 93. So, you know, the other package files that it found in here are probably for other things. Like could be PS3 package files. They could be some other package files that are just not valid. So it's going to ignore those, and it's found 44 valid ones that it will serve in the Homebrew Store. Now there's also this option to start server on Windows Startup. So you can enable that if you want it so that whenever you restart your computer, the server is automatically running when you restart your PC. So that way, when you access the Homebrew Store, you'll have access to all of your package files being served from your computer. So you can enable that. That's quite handy. Okay, so once you've added your package files and you've got the correct IP, all you need to do is select the option to start/stop the web server, and it says here that it is running. So now we can switch back over to our PS5, and switch the content delivery network over to our computer. So we do that by heading down to the settings option and changing this content delivery network. So by default, it's on api.package-zone.com. We just want to change that to the IP address of our computer. Make sure you select HTTP instead of HTTPS, because we're not using HTTPS when we're serving from our computer. So http:// and then the IP address of our computer, the same IP that we're using in the IP box on the CDN tool, which in my case was 137.1. Make sure you do not add a / or anything at the end. So just enter the IP address like this and click done. And there we go. That has worked. So we can click save settings. Your changes have been saved. If we head back, you'll still see the normal store apps. So what we need to do is close the Homebrew Store and reopen it again. And then we should now get the package files being served from our computer, from that JDownloader directory in my case. So we'll go ahead and do this. Update required. Click OK to update the app. So I'll click OK. And what you'll notice, as soon as I click OK here, if I switch over back to the computer, you can see it's showing the files that are currently being served to the Homebrew Store. Last file served, store.prx. So we'll switch back over here. Update has been applied. And here we go, it's working. And there it is. As you can see, all of these files are from my computer. So we've got Elden Ring, we've got a Black Ops 3 DLC, we've got Dying Light 2, we've got Minecraft, we've got PT, we've got Assassin's Creed, bunch of Resident Evil 4 stuff like the DLC, among other things. We've got GTA 5, Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, more Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Resident Evil 3. These are all package files that are on my network drive on my computer. They're all available right here to download. So I can say, let's say I want to install Minecraft. I can select Minecraft, download and install. And just like it would do normally, it's downloading and installing Minecraft directly from my computer. So just like it would do if you were downloading from the normal Homebrew Store servers, it does the same thing. It will download it from my computer over the network, so I don't need to use a USB drive, and then it will automatically install it once it's downloaded. So there we go, Minecraft, it has successfully installed, ready to play, and it's good to go. So one of the things you'll notice is it is quite slow at the moment, and this is one of the quirks with the PS5 that does not happen on the PS4. So I'm actually on a wired network, so I have an Ethernet cable connected from my PS5 directly to my computer, which should offer the fastest speed possible between my computer and my PS5. Basically, a gigabit per second or a little bit under that is what I would expect. However, you can see we're getting way less than that. PT is only 1.4 gigabytes. If I click download and install, I mean, it's 2%, 3%, 4%. This is only 1.4 gigs, as you can see, size 1.3 GB. This is a pretty small game. It really should not be taking this long on a wired connection between my computer and my PS5. So this is one of the quirks that we've kind of noticed recently with the PS5, is that there seems to be some kind of bandwidth limitation when downloading to the internal SSD of the PS5. It doesn't really make sense. It seems like it's some kind of artificial limitation because the PS5 SSD should be capable of much higher speeds when transferring stuff. Obviously, it's a very fast SSD that's built into the PS5, but for whatever reason, when it comes to network transfers, or not even just network transfers, even just copying files to the hard drive, it's ridiculously slow, like slower than the PS4 hard drive's read speed by a significant margin. So that's the issue you can see. I mean, only 61%, and it's only a 1.38 gigabyte file. So there is actually a way around this where we can increase the speed and make it better. There's two ways to do it. One of the ways, of course, is that you can install a M.2 SSD. So if you have an M.2 SSD to expand the storage of your PS5, or you already have one installed, then what you can do is change the download path for the package files to the external drive, and you should get much higher speeds if you do that. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to have a Gen 4 SSD. Those are quite expensive, Gen 4 NVMe drives. So another thing you can do is just have a fast USB drive or a fast external drive and plug it in to one of the back USB ports on the PS5. So you can see here, we have successfully installed PT. and it took about 2 minutes to actually install that. So I'm going to delete PT and then re-download it again with this change where I change the download directory to my USB drive instead. So of course I've got my USB drive still plugged in, the same USB drive I just used to install the Homebrew Store in the first place. I've still got that USB plugged into the back of my PS5. And I'm going to change the download directory to that USB drive so you can see the speed difference. So if we go into the settings, we can go to the temporary path. This is where all of the downloads go. And then once they're installed, they then get removed from this location. And you can see it's user app mpxs 39041/downloads. So that's a location on the internal SSD of the PS5. We just want to change this to the USB drive. So the path for a USB drive will be mnt, the mount directory, and then /USB0. So USB 0. If it's the only drive plugged into the PS5, it will be USB 0 usually. If you have multiple drives plugged in, then one of them will be USB 0, the other one will be USB 1, USB 2, etc. So I only have one drive plugged in, so it'll be USB 0. So I can just do mount USB 0, done, and set that as the temporary path. Now, if you're using an M.2 drive, then the file path will be /mnt/ext1, or possibly ext0, but usually it's ext1. The Homebrew Store also shows you all of the different storage locations and their file paths down in the bottom left-hand corner, so you can also find it right there. I don't have an NVMe drive, but I do have the USB drive plugged in, so we're going to go ahead and hit Save Settings. Settings have been saved. Okay, so now let's do the same thing. We'll try and install PT now. Download and install. And boom, look at that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% done already. It's still not as fast as I would preferably like it to be, but you can clearly see that's downloading way faster than it was before. So for whatever reason, there's some kind of artificial limitation in place when it comes to the read and write speeds to the internal SSD for whatever reason. So if you can avoid using the internal SSD for these downloads, you will get much higher speeds as you're seeing here. So there we go, we're almost done already. It took over 2 minutes last time with the internal SSD, and now it's almost done. And now it is done. So there we go. So if you just have a fast USB 3.0, USB drive, or like an SSD enclosure that can connect via USB, and then you could just plug that into one of the back USB ports on the PS5, set the download location to that, and then you'll get much faster transfer speeds when copying files over the network from your computer to your PS5. And of course, you'll get even faster speeds, probably not a hell of a lot faster, but you'll get a little bit faster speeds if you have an M.2 drive installed and you set the download path to that. Okay, let's try something bigger like Dying Light 2. This is a 20 gigabyte game. We'll go ahead and give this one a try. Get that installed. Now, while that's downloading, interestingly enough, if you head to the queue, you can actually see it downloading, and you can add multiple things here. So you could download multiple games at once. I think it's up to 4 packages that you can install at once. So for example, if we just sneakily go ahead and delete PT and then head back in here, I'll go back over to Store Apps, go to PT, download and install. And then if we switch back over, because that's going to take not long at all, you can see it's also downloading PT. So you can download multiple at once. I believe it is up to 4. I think it does tap out at 4. So 4 package files at once. So you could do like 2 games plus 2 updates, 1 for each game, and then just, walk away and leave it, come back a few minutes later, and it'll all be downloaded and installed for you. Okay, here we go. Dying Light 2. Took a couple minutes there. And there it is, added to downloads/uploads. And then you can actually see it there in downloads and uploads, Homebrew Store installer. And this is it actually installing it now that it's been downloaded. All right, here we go. 2, 1, 0. Installing 100%. There it is, ready to play. Let's go ahead and try and play it here. Make sure it works. Okay, and as you can see, guys, the game is indeed working right there. So you can, in fact, install full games with this using the Homebrew Store to basically act as a remote package installer to pull the package files off your PC over the network and install them directly to your PS5. And of course, you can improve the download speed by changing the temporary directory for the download path. to either a USB drive that's connected to the PS5 via the back USB ports, hopefully a high-speed USB drive, or an NVMe drive that you have connected up to the PS5. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video.